Bob, you know what you look like? You look like you belong with some rock and roll band at CBGB's in the like late 1970s. Like I keep expecting Iggy Pop to pop out behind you like that, or Lou Reed in the Velvet Underground to come walking through with a pair of guitars or some shit like that. It looks cool as fuck, man. Aloha, everybody. Mwah. Aloha from myself, looking like a sexy transvestite. And my dear friends, you can see up there the lovely Dylan and the lovely Bob, head honchos of Beyond Hot in Alberta, Canada. And welcome to this episode of Experts and Idiots from me, 420 Chili Sash, here in deepest, darkest Germany. And as I said, from my two buddies over there in lovely Canada. As you can see, all of us look ridiculous today in the best possible way. Apart from Bob, who looks extremely cool. But then the gentlemen are here looking ridiculous today. Yes, thank you, He-Man. Very nice indeed. And welcome to the Rocky Horror Picture Show special. That's what we got for you today. It's a little bit Super Hot Chili meets the Rocky Horror Picture Show's Time Warp. More about that coming in a moment. But first of all, who are my friends here? Well, Dylan, Bob, would you like to introduce yourselves and tell the lovely people a bit about Beyond Hot?
Oh, by all means, Sasha. Thank you very much, brother. Appreciate this. Worldwide, loving it. We're a couple that opened up a hot sauce store in Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada, just as a passion. And now we are officially the largest selection of hot sauce in Alberta. We're independently run and owned. Every decision is between the two of us. There's no corporation here. We like it. We want it. We get it. Straight to you.
Bob, thank you for being there. Dylan, thank you for being there. And us, all of us here, where you can see we're all dressed rather strangely today. Why? Because of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's why. Rocky Horror Picture Show is a very, very culty, transvestite, transsexual kind of a musical from the late 1970s, which is a super cult event. And today we are going to be trying to give you a little rendition of one of the songs from there, the Time Warp, whilst doing some extreme chili. Now, I have got my traditional with me, what I love, which is here. You can see that is our Candy Floss Hindenburg chili extract. I'm going to try and eat as much of that as possible and try and get through this song. And normally it goes per drop, but today I got the personal stash. So it's going per spoon. What is your weapon of choice, Dylan and Bob?
Well, today we thought we'd play a little bit of a homage to a new sauce that a really good friend, might even call him a partner now, at the Capsaicin Cartel, Nico did. So we have the Canadian Cajun sauce. Cajun. Yeah. Can A, as our famous saying goes, Jun. So instead of using our ghost pepper ranch and everything else, we thought we'd pay a little bit of homage to some really cool stuff and give it a shot. It's not crazy hot today, but you know, I got to think of others as well. And we got to do a bit of singing. So I don't want to be crying and blowing snot bubbles.
That's a big difference to how I normally know Dylan. Normally he's crying and blowing snot bubbles in the morning whilst we're chatting over breakfast. It's just Dylan's way in this world. But luckily there's Barb, and so she can help keep him clean and put a nice wig on him, which is marvelous. Yeah, Rocky Horror, man. Why do I love it? Why do you love it up there? Well, you know, for me, I love the fact that there's it's this crazy alternative world. I grew up in a rather conservative suburban area, and everyone was very, very boring and very, very normal. And then suddenly there was this strange thing where there was all these men dressed as women and unusual sexuality and lipstick and glitter and glamour and all the good stuff in life, you know. And it was like a little light into my sad little suburban existence of something else, you know. It was a good excuse to dress up and be silly, you know, as is a tendency when you go to screenings of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. You will dress. I dress often, as you can see, as the transsexual lead, which is Dr. Frankenfurter. Normally you dress. I have had the experience before where I dressed fully in transsexual bondage clothing, went to a cinema to go and watch the film as you would do normally. And I walked in and made my entrance and I dropped my long jacket, like that, to reveal my bustier and all the other loveliness I was wearing. Only to realize I was the only person in the theater who was actually dressed for the show. And so I just walked into a theater full of normally dressed people looking like a transvestite, which was lovely. But however, despite that, I adore it. That's what it means to me. What about you two? What's it mean for you, Rocky Horror?
Well, Barb, I'll let you go first. No. Well, a little secret. Barb had never heard about the Rocky Horror Picture Show till about 2 years ago.
2 years.
2 years ago. Never knew. She's true blue, grass-raised Alberta prime. So never been around that kind of cult classic. So I introduced it to her and she was like, we sat down, watched the movie, and I laughed hysterically, loved the movie. So she kind of learned what the cult classic was all about. So really new experience for Barb, still new to her. For me, growing up in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, we actually had a theater that was the Rocky Horror Picture Show on the Danforth. So in the 70s, I was a very young kid, so I never got a chance to go into the theater, too young for that. But still, we had to follow from it into our high school era in the 80s and 90s. Man, it's still a fad to this day. So, I mean, you know, it's great. I still have to watch it every once in a while. I mean, oh, man, the songs that come out of that track are unreal. If you've never listened to the soundtrack for the album, grab a beer one day, whatever. If you don't drink, grab a juice, whatever, and listen to it. You're just going to have a good time.
He's about right up there. And as you can see from all three of us here, it's just a wonderful excuse for a grown-up to be childish. You know, there's something inside of us all which is needing a little childishness, you know, to be fed into it every now and then. It keeps life special, you know, and that is exactly what Rocky Horror is. Now, I think it's about time for a little bit time warping. Are you feeling about ready, you two?
You good to go?
Yeah.
I'm good to go. Why not? He-Man protects the universe. Hey, let's go.
Let's go. Let's get time warping.
It's astounding. Time is fleeting. Madness takes its toll. But listen closely.
Not for very much longer.
I've got to keep control.
I remember doing the time warp. Drinking those moments when the blacks would hit me and the void would be calling.
Let's do the time warp
again. Let's do the time warp again.
It's just a jump to the left.
And then a step to right.
With your hands on your hips.
You bring your knees tight, but it's a pelvic thrust that really drives me insane. Yeah. Let's do the time warp again. Let's do the time warp again.
It's so dreamy. Oh, fantasy free me. So you can't see me. No, not at all. In another dimension with voyeuristic intention. Well secluded, I see all.
With a bit of a mind flip,
You're into the time slip.
and nothing can ever be the same.
You're spaced out of sensation.
Like you're under sedation.
Let's do the time again.
Let's do the time again.
Well, I was walking down the street just to have a drink when a drink of a guy gave me an evil wink. He shook me up a little, he took me by surprise. He had a big strike as the devil's eyes. He said at me, and I felt a change. I meant nothing, never would again.
Let's do the time warp again.
Let's
do the time
again.
It's just a jump to the left
And then a step to the right.
with your hands on your hips.
It brings your knees in tight. Big thrust that really drives you insane. Let's do the time warp again.
Let's do the time warp again.
Nah. Ooh, I'm drooling. Ooh, I apologize.
I didn't want to drool on you, so I kept it in.
Drooling. Well, okay, I've now wiped my makeup and also my drool off, so that's kind of a good thing, I guess. You two, excuse me, I'm sorry, I apologize for the drooling. My eyes are a bit fucked up, but I think do you know what? This is the first time I've done chili eating with a lot of makeup on. Look how much makeup comes off when you clean your shit up. That's scary, isn't it?
Buy some quality makeup.
Actually, if you must know, I borrowed the makeup from the transvestite who lives next door to me. My Mrs. 420 is more of a flesh tones makeup person, and that doesn't really fit for Dr. Frankenfurter, you know. But okay, now I'm fucking melting, so I think I'm gonna have to go away.
My glasses are fogging up from chugging that bottle. Oh.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. You got a lot of that shit down you as well, didn't you?
Wow, I can't let you outdo me. You know that. Come on now.
Well, all right, boys and girls out there. Now, from myself here and from Dylan and the lovely Barb up there, I think what we'd like to tell you is, first of all, be childish, be silly, see the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and remember, feed your inner child with a little bit of stupidity every now and then. It's good fun to get dressed up, to be silly. Wouldn't you agree, you two?
Oh, 100%. If you can't laugh every day and have fun, don't get out of bed.
That's a fucking good way to end today. All of you out there in television land, from all of us here in Canada, in Germany, we'd like to say ciao for now. So, ciao for now.
See you guys. Stay spicy.
I've never had this much liquid coming out of my face before. Did you use the makeup?
Oh,
I'm literally melting. Excuse me. I have to try and get some of this off. My God. Oh, I love it. We knocked that one out the park. That's what I think. But
first take, that was great.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I've noticed something, which is that I think you can film anything on a first take if you've got the momentum inside of you to push forward with it, you know? It's one of the reasons I love chatting with you, Dylan. You're one of the... If I talk about momentum, I've never known a human being with so much forward momentum in my life. It's kind of like inspiring for me. I guess for Barb, that must be kind of difficult because that means you have to put the brakes on that momentum every now and then, don't you? But then just a little bit.